because there was a little bit of conversation that creeped up nationally this week that I wanted to address with the two of you. And it is, should Brock Purdy be part of the MVP conversation? And I will start the conversation by saying I unequivocally believe that he should be. When we talk conventionally about the MVP conversation, it is typically the best quarterback on the best team, barring a truly outstanding, unheard of season like Adrian Peterson in 2012, that gets the award. Right now, the 49ers are unequivocally the best team in the NFL. I'm not even sure that I would say that the MVP on the team is Purdy. I'd probably go Christian McCaffrey through 5 games, not a slight at Purdy, more of an, again, Christian McCaffrey has been that outstanding. But Purdy, to me, 100% should be part of the conversation. When you look at his numbers, when you look at his team success, conventionally, anybody that has both of those two things would be part of the conversation. And in the case of Purdy, I don't think we should penalize him because we didn't expect him to have these kind of numbers before the season. And I don't know that making him a part of the MVP conversation just because of how we've had it as a football watching community over the last, 20, 30 years, whatever, I don't think it changes the fact of, I don't think it makes him seem like he's better than he is. It's just an acknowledgement for these are the standards we usually set for the award, and Purdy's 100% meeting them. And I think not making him a part of the conversation for the award is actually a slight. I'm going to start with you, Jesse. What do you think? Should he be a part of the award conversation? And am I right when I say I think he should 100% be a part of it?
Oh yeah, I mean he meets all the criteria, like you said. What is the criteria? What usually there's a few. There's, are you a quarterback? Yes, Brock Purdy's a quarterback. Is your team one of the best teams in the league? Yep, the 49ers are definitely one of the best teams in the league. And statistically, have you put together a good season? Brock is putting together a phenomenal season. He may not have the most yards and touchdowns or whatever, but when you look at the efficiency, just one turnover on the season, that puts you in the conversation. Over 70% completion. Like, all those things are there. So check. Absolutely deserves to be in the conversation. I would agree that through 5 weeks, if I was giving a team MVP, it would probably go to CMC. But the likelihood that CMC wins an MVP over Brock Purdy, if they're both there at the end of the year and in the discussion, pretty slim to none, because the quarterback always has the advantage there.
Larry, what do you think? This is your guy.
I mean, you first of all, you got to acknowledge that CMC is super special. Let's be honest about this whole thing. The Niners are 17-1 since they got him. Okay, so he's freaking awesome. He's an amazing player. But to me, the best analysis I've seen of Purdy comes from JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school, and that just kind of reconfirms the specialness of Brock. I mean, JT O'Sullivan played in the NFL. Brock's got all the numbers, right? I mean, he's 12-0 in games he's finished, 12-1 straight up. He's first in the NFL in QB rating. The Niners are undefeated. He's second in yards per attempt. He's second in completion percentage. He's 9 touchdowns, no picks. He just had 4 touchdowns and scored 42 against a team that was allowing 10. But it's the other things. It's the traits that, to me, and this is what JT O'Sullivan highlighted, he describes world-class anticipation, incredibly decisive, unbelievably poised, a natural feel that cannot be coached. The guy's got awesome weapons. There's no doubt about it. But I tend to think that he might be able to win games with Tay Martin and Ronnie Bell and Jordan Mason, and we'll see. I mean, we're going to find out at some point if guys get hurt. But that, to me, is where there's no question. If Mahomes it's like, I almost feel like this MVP race, when people say that Brock's not a part of it, this isn't the Heisman, where you've got to have a campaign. It's like, if Mahomes had every stat and everything going, if his resume for the MVP was Brock's, we wouldn't even be questioning it. He'd be like,
not just Mahomes. Like, there are 10 different quarterbacks that you could put that conventionally we would have an expectation that they're actually capable of the season Purdy is currently statistically having. And if they were having it, we'd be like, 100%, that guy's the MVP. With Purdy, it's not anybody. Like, again, I don't care what you think Purdy is as a quarterback or whatever it is. The criteria conventionally are the things that Jesse described. And he is knocking out that criteria out of the park right now. Like the statistics, the guy is top 5, top 3, top 2 in every single stat you want for a quarterback. He is there in every single one of them. And that's where I think it's a little bit asinine, actually, that he's not a part. He's not a bigger part of the conversation.
Can we go beyond the stats for a second, though? Because Brock Purdy is dead last in one key stat. He is 32nd in the NFL in fourth quarter pass attempts because the Niners are rolling teams. Don't tell me about his stats. His stats aren't even as good as he is because in reality, they're shutting him down in the fourth quarter more times than not, and they're just running the hell out of the football. If this guy actually, competed like he does in quarters 1, 2, and 3 in the fourth quarter and kept attacking down the field, in the air, he might be throwing for bigger yardage. He might have more touchdowns. His stats don't tell the story. It's the film. It's you roll that film back and forth. And Shanahan said it. He's like, this guy's done it on the road, at home, in the playoffs, in the regular season. He's done it in every way imaginable. But JT O'Sullivan, who I think has a really cerebral way of breaking things down, when he starts going through, it's really, it's a combination. Let's be honest, right? Shanahan's a great coach and devises some amazing offensive plays. And he's got this incredible array of weapons that he's got. But the combination of Kyle, these weapons, and Purdy's anticipation, poise, decisiveness, feel, right now he's playing at a crazy level. Come on, you know me, I've been super pro Purdy. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this level of consistency, this level of improvement from year 1 to year 2. The footwork is totally better. It's a lot more quiet. And it just kind of shows that if you're wed to the process of pro football, which is the film and the lifting and the studying, and if you're really wed to it, you can get better without physical reps. And I think that's what this offseason should have taught us all. He didn't have the physical reps, and a lot of us thought, you know what, we don't know what he'll be because he didn't have these physical reps. Turns out that the mental reps that he was putting up in the offseason have made him quite a bit better than he was last year.
Hey, Jesse, I would love to let you respond to that, but I just want to say one thing. Do you think that what Brock Purdy did this offseason is now something we can expect from every player? Because to me, what Brock Purdy did this offseason is the outlier. The fact that he was able to improve just from the mental reps is the outlier. I don't know that it's an example. I think all it shows is that it's possible for a player to do that, but I don't think it's a standard or it's an expectation or it's even something that we can remotely expect to be consistent when we've seen even the greatest of players have issues coming back from injury and have rust immediately when they return due to lack of reps. Jesse, what do you think?
Yeah, first I want to address what Larry said. I think both things can be true. I think it's possible that the team, Shanahan, all the great players on this team elevate Purdy, but I also think that it can be true that Purdy also elevates them. I think that this really goes both ways. This is, when you enter into a marriage, it's not, everybody says, well, it's got to be 50-50. No, it's 100-100. Like that's the way marriages work. She's putting in 100% effort. You're putting in 100% effort. You're carrying 100% of the load. She's carrying 100% of the load. And that's when it works. It's not a 50-50 situation. And with the 49ers, the way it works right now, and you've seen in Shanahan's system, certainly he can get great numbers from bad quarterbacks. We've seen that. But when he has a quarterback that can take everything he's put together and elevate it a little bit, you've seen that as well. You've seen that turn into an MVP in Matt Ryan. Now you're seeing Brock Purdy be in an MVP conversation. So that's what you're seeing there. Your question, what was your question again, Vish? I want to answer that one. Sorry.
Oh, I just said that when Larry, the last part of what Larry said was he was like, oh, Brock has shown us we should amend our thinking.
Oh,
about,
yeah. I remember
the mental
now.
reps, he's improved. Yeah. I look at Brock a little bit more of an exception rather than, we should readjust the rule. Like, I think, hey, Brock might be exceptional for the fact that he was able to improve just on taking mental reps this offseason while going through this injury.
Yeah, I also think Brock was going into year 2. And so every rep he can get mentally or physically was going to help him. If he was going into year 17, I don't know if just having mental reps would have benefited him the same way, but every little rep that he can get, and everybody's a little bit different, and I always do this, but it's a sport that I love, but combat sports, MMA, you saw this shift over the last 5 to 6 years where fighters went from sparring very, very hard during their training camps to prepare for fights. And a big chunk of them realized, hey, this is making me go into fight night injured, not able to take punches the way that I should. And so they've shifted it through science. They've said, hey, instead of doing a bunch of sparring, I'm going to take a bunch of mental reps. I'm going to rest myself, and I'm going to be fully physically ready for fight night. And so fighters have cut down sparring. Some fighters don't spar at all during their training camps because they want to be fully ready. And I think that depends on the fighter and the person. And I think for Brock Purdy, there was a couple things that went into it. One, he is extremely smart, so mental reps is going to help him. But 2, he was only going into year 2. This is not year 17 for him. Those mental reps were also needed on top of the physical reps.
Larry, go ahead.
I just think it's, Purdy's just a really interesting guy, and the beginning of his career is just fascinating. And when all I'll say is that, Mike Tomczak did go 10-0 to start his career. And he then went 32-31 for the rest of his career. So, it's like, that, and yeah, he was with the 85 Bears or not 85, 86, I guess, Bears.
Yeah. Who are supposed to be better, right?
Right. But Tomczak 7-0 as a rookie with the 86 Bears. Now that 86 Bears team was awesome, and they went 14-2. It was still a dominating defense. But the guy after that, he's 7-0 that first year, then 4-2, 4-1, 5-6, 1-1, 2-5, 4-4, 0-1.
Didn't Tomczak throw like a touchdown and 15 interceptions or something like that in 86, and then 4 touchdowns and like 15 interceptions in 87? Like, weren't his stats like absolutely awful?
Yeah, he did. He went 7. How about this? I'm looking at his stats right now. 86, he goes 7-0.
Look it up too.
With 2 touchdowns and 10 picks. Who goes 7-0 with 2 touchdowns and 10 picks?
Oh, geez, I have his numbers now.
That's amazing.
He did have
actually
3 rushing touchdowns, Larry. Give him the 3.
But that's
He's
crazy.
Got 5 touchdowns, 10 picks total.
No, but I'm just saying that we have seen guys start fast and fall off the table. So I don't want to pretend like there's no way anybody could start fast.
Dude, he had 7 starts and he threw it 151 times.
He had the 85 Bears defense. 86 Bears defense was almost as good as 85. But no, I just think that this is an incredible story. It really is an incredible story. And it's, it's the 49ers lucked out, because if they knew he was good, they would have drafted him before the last pick in the draft. They lucked out. Isn't it weird how, if you really think about it, Brent Jones compares Brock Purdy to Joe Montana. He played with Joe Montana, so he can do that. Larry Centers last week on our pregame show, who played with Tom Brady, compared Brock Purdy to Tom Brady. But it isn't